Dark Blizzard. Chapter 2. Where's Jesus? Sparkie slept on a pallet in the kitchen. Missy asked her to hide in the root cellar when she had callers. She didn't want it known that she had taken in a stray, even for just a little while. People gossiped and word spread fast, and before you know it, there would be 10 strays a day tapping on her door. An old pillowcase with a head hole and 2 armholes served as a dress, well, for now anyway. There were some old feed sacks in the barn that almost all the poor young girls were wearing, and they could do just fine with just a little bit of sewing handiwork. Sparkie was quiet and withdrawn. She still couldn't believe that her family had dumped her. The radio seemed to soothe her, so she spent a lot of time just curled up in the corner where the radio was. Missy kept noticing that whatever Sparkie had, she would always save most of it for her baby brother. If she found some pretty rocks, 1 for her, 3 for the baby, and old medicine bottles, 1 for her, 2 for him. She simply wouldn't eat unless whatever she was given, a bigger portion was promised to be saved for the baby. Missy wasn't wealthy by any means. The house was paid for by her late husband. She had sold off a good portion of the land right before the economy crashed, so that provided a meager income. Sparkie liked books with pictures and would pretend to read them for hours sitting in her corner. Missy asked her if she'd like to learn to read, but Sparkie said poor people can't afford to read. They've got to work. That was something her dad had always told her. Sparkie watched day after day how Missy would turn people away asking for food, and how she would cry when they left. "I'm sorry you have to see that," Missy said, "but we simply don't have anything to give." And why are all these families going to California? Whatever was there would soon be overwhelmed with laborers. One day the usual knock came on the door. "Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Lucas T. Whitebone. Reverend Whitebone, or as my friends call me, Reverend T-Bone." That was strange. Sparkie listened closer from her corner. Nobody ever introduced themselves. "I was hoping I might have a minute of your time to discuss a business offer. You see, I would like to lease some of your property for a while." "Well, come in, Reverend Whitebone. My name is Mrs. Sweet. May I offer you some coffee?" "That would be mighty fine. I thank you for your hospitality." He took a seat by the window and began speaking. "I couldn't help but notice just how inviting your property was, and especially how it just catches a person's eye. As you are aware, these are mighty hard times, and many people have lost hope. Well, I'm offering them hope, ma'am. I want to put up a tent, a big tent, mind you, and invite people to sing, hear a good uplifting message, share a testimony, and have fellowship with one another to restore their very souls. I want them to leave so happy they could just dance." "Oh, my goodness, Reverend. I admire your zeal, that's for sure. What I had in mind was the northeastern part of your property that faces the road, and I want to erect a tent. I would need an opening in your fence about 50 feet wide to construct a separate drive entrance. That's about it. We won't be a bother to you at all. I'm prepared to offer you $50 a month for 2 months. Then we'll put the land back just as we found it. What do you say, Mrs. Sweet?" Well, Missy thought, I sure could use the money. "Okay, Reverend Whitebone, let's call it a deal." They shook hands and began talking more detail about Reverend Whitebone's plans. Sparkie had an uneasy feeling about what she heard. Something just didn't sound right. She remembers attending a lot of revivals on her journey, but this man seemed different. Missy had never mentioned anything about church to her, and she was glad about that. Her family would sit for hours and hours in those revivals, listening to Jesus. That was it. The man once never mentioned Jesus, or God, or prayer, or anything. How can you have a revival without Jesus?